Chefs of Reddit, what are your opinion on Gordon Ramsay? What you see and perceive of Gordon Ramsay is a role he plays, on top of his experience in food service and cooking. If you watch the original UK Kitchen Nightmares episodes, he's much more toned down and you can truly sense his desire to help the businesses and the people running them. I especially love the scenes where he tries to pick up the people who run the kitchens. He can tell when people have the raw talent but lacking the opportunity to shine, and he just wants to see them succeed. They only play up his dickishness for the US Kitchen Nightmares and Master Chef series. Google Gordon Ramsay's Ultimate Cookery course on YouTube. I think that's the most genuine you'll see out of him. I also suggest you look up his documentary exposing the cruelty and use of shark fin. You rarely see this guy break down as much as he does there. Spent 4 of my early years, mostly high school, as a chef and co-manager for a pizza/Italian eatery. Worked at another Italian, primarily pasta, place as a head chef for another year before finally getting a job in my web development career and moving away. I binge watch out his UK-based shows. His American shows are definitely not nearly as good as his UK-based shows in terms of genuine attempts to fix it. He also has another show called The F Word. He is great in this show where he leads a dinner service, shows himself as a brash, demanding, but respectful head chef. He also goes to people's homes to show them an awesome meal they can cook for their families. Another part people need to realize about Ramsay is that while he is now a famous TV personality, he was once a line cook, trainee, low-end chef who was trained by other incredible chefs around the world. Cooking in most busy restaurants requires a cruelness almost. You have to be hot-tempered, passionate, and motivated to do the work no matter what people are saying around you. He was trained by people who are incredible chefs, and he's training future chefs to become incredible chefs. I think he comes off the wrong way to a lot of people because they don't really know what it's like when you have 200 people seating and you have to start feeding every single one of those people, to order, from fresh food. It's a high-stress job that demands passion from the chefs. Oh, and I also think they just pick out the craziest people they can find in the Kitchen Nightmares, US, edition and then plop Ramsay right up them since this formula makes decent ratings. The guy busted his life to be the best. He knows how to cook better than almost anybody else in the world. I have nothing but respect for his ability and work ethic. That being said, he has entirely overextended himself. His cookbook deals/TV shows/product endorsements etc. completely support his restaurants because he's opened so many of them and most people don't give respect anymore. His restaurants are dropping like flies but he keeps opening new ones up left, right and center. He needs to slow down on the restaurant biz and focus on the restaurants that he really wants to succeed. He can't do it all. My chef, culinary school, worked with him. I'm sure it's not a surprise to hear that he is much friendlier in real life versus on television. I think he's extremely talented, but mostly what I see is acting. The kitchen can be extremely stressful and bad tempers arising isn't an uncommon occurrence. I've seen pots thrown, I've seen battles between other chefs and their bosses, and I've definitely gotten into some fits with my co-workers as well. Cooking isn't preformed the same way every time. Guidelines. Every chef has their own way of preparing something and a majority of them think their way is better/correct. Respected, yes. Revered, depends on who you ask. Most reverence in the culinary world is reserved for the likes of Escoffier, but Ramsay comes close enough. We all recognize the value in what he does, respect him as a chef, and generally don't blame him one iota for his, apparently, probably played up for TV, short temper. We've seen as bad or worse on a near daily basis if we've been at it long enough. His recipes/cookbooks are absolutely top drawer. I have yet to cook something from one of his books that doesn't leave me at least quietly impressed, at most gobsmacked. If nothing else, Ramsay is a great learning resource for beginner and expert cooks alike. He's probably a nice person IRL and I'm sure all that yelling and cussing, and drama is necessary to turn those shows into something watchable. But it's too bad that people think a kitchen is supposed to be a chaotic screaming mess. It's not. If someone's screaming all the time, something's very wrong. Either someone doesn't know what they're doing, or the kitchen system is screwed up, or the screamer needs a different job because they just can't handle it. Gordon as a person and entrepreneur is truly amazing too. I'm not a chef, but I've watched some of the early documentaries on how he came about. One of the most memorable was from when he was head chef of one of the earlier places we worked at. He decided he wanted to start his own business and his whole kitchen walked out with him. Say what you will about him, but it takes an amazing person to lead so many others like that. The thing that most non-industry personnel don't understand about Gordon Ramsay is that his behavior is not out of the ordinary at all. When you have 10 tickets hanging and you have to get the food out right now, there is no time to sit down with the nice HR lady and have a chat about how you tried to sell soggy scallops to the chef. You have to be told what you did wrong in the shortest amount of time possible, in a way that leaves no doubt in anyone's mind what you did wrong. There are many ways of doing this, shouting at someone being one of them. The only possible way to have as much success in this business as Gordon has is to wake up every day and to zealously chase perfection. In any high-level kitchen, everyone is working 70 hours a week at the bare minimum. It is an affront to your very way of life if some tourist doesn't give an opinion about the food that he is cooking. As far as my personal opinion of Gordon Ramsay, I think he's a tremendously talented cook and chef. I love how passionate he is about his food and about helping other people. His personal life leaves something to be desired if one is to believe the papers, but that's a separate issue. I idolize the guy. Watching him cook, you can't help but fall in love with your trade all over again. I hope to receive at least one Michelin star in my life, so to me, he's someone whose words you want to live by in the culinary world. I don't care if he's a dick. Chefs in the old school used to actually punch and kick you when you messed up. Masaharu Morimoto is up there too. I actually agree with most of what he is yelling at people about. If you pay attention, he makes very good points, and I imagine that it is mostly for show anyways. He expects greatness from those around him, and I would yell as well if I was given half of the effort when I was from those who promised their best. He seems to be a great chef in general as well, although that can be faked in television these days. I haven't personally met him, but would love the pleasure just to meet the man. If you've ever worked in a kitchen, it's a very high-stress environment. There are lots of expectations pushed on the cooking staff and even more on the head cook/chef. I worked in a kitchen for 7 years and I can empathize with Mr. Ramsay. He was trained as a patisserie, a profession with lots on emphasis on tiny details, color, taste, texture, appearance. He has to bring those kinds of details to much larger operation, an entire kitchen. Sure, some of the things he says to his employees aren't good, but they're not meant to be taken personally, like many of the things people call each other in the kitchen. He is an absolutely terrible example of how to manage people. I agree with a lot of the posts here that he is nicer in person and extremely talented, but you can't treat your employees like this no matter how witty it is. It's a bad example for aspiring chefs in an industry that for years has tried to move away from the angry chef stereotype.
Wife of a chef here. Personally, I have no respect for the man. Any talent he did have has been knocked by his celebrity persona. Please note I don't say his personality as I've never met him, so can only comment on his public image. My abiding feeling of him is that he cares more about making money now than he does about food. My husband lives and breathes food and truly cares about the food he's putting his name to. He left a job paying double what he currently earns because the food he was being made to produce was lackluster and he lost passion for the job. If Ramsay has lost passion, he shouldn't carry on for the fame. He should do what Marco Pierre White did and quit, hand back his stars and admit he isn't in the game anymore. MPW kept his fame despite doing it. Ramsay would too, but I, and many other chefs' partners, wouldn't feel the need to add he's nothing like Ramsay when discussing what our shows do.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. the internet surfer on YouTube for more horror and scary stories.